recently discovered a big mistake that's cost me a whole lot of money, a whole lot of connection, and has me apologizing to a whole lot of people, maybe even you. In this episode, I'm going to tell you what that mistake was and the 7 steps that I took to redeem myself. If you're on my email list, I'm just going to go ahead and say, I am so sorry. I promise I was not ghosting you on purpose. I recently found an error that meant more than half of my email list wasn't getting my regular emails. What? The community gal has not been connecting and nurturing her list? I'm sure some of y'all think I'm a complete fraud. Nope. I just tried to get all fancy and let my regular podcast listeners that are subscribed and don't want the email version each week to opt out of that particular email. Well, apparently I excluded practically everyone. This is why they shouldn't let me touch the techie things. And of course, we've just been rolling along thinking that all was well, and it was only a fluke that I got in there and discovered this error. But this was a huge bummer, not only because I've lost sales for my community and retention programs, but also because I've lost valuable connection opportunities. I'm just so bummed generally that you missed out on so many valuable emails that you could have been forwarding onto your team to help you grow stronger communities and create more amazing member experiences. My regular emails are key takeaways and summaries of this podcast, and occasionally other stuff when I have something really valuable to share. You can go to shanalynn.com and just go to the top to opt in if you're not already getting them. But I wanted to share what happened and what I did once I realized the mistake, because I think there's a valuable lesson here. At least I hope there is. I want some good to come out of this mistake. And I know many of us are guilty of ghosting our email list, whether intentionally or unintentionally, like me. Have every good thought and intention of staying in touch, but weeks or months go by and nothing gets sent. It's just not a priority. Then when you finally decide to email your list, you sit in fear of what to do or say, and more weeks and more months go by while you contemplate how to redeem yourself after disappearing. So here's what I did and my key takeaways for you so that you can get to re-engaging your list faster. First, throw a pity party with one caveat. Y'all, I was upset. The more I thought about what people probably thought of me, the more I thought about the missed sales, the more mad I got at myself. Because mistakes like this, they don't just impact me, but they impact my team. I let them down. And I let you down because I made a commitment that I didn't keep. So instead of rushing through, I actually let myself sit in that feeling, but I gave myself a deadline to be done. All pity parties should have a start and an end time. There's one piece of advice you take from this episode, it's that one. All pity parties should have a start and an end time. I gave myself until 9 a.m. the next morning to get my butt in gear. Number 2. Segment the list. The more personalized you can make your messaging, the better. In my case, there were those that were getting the emails and those that weren't. But you could also segment by buyers and non-buyers or any other information that you have about them. Remember that this first email after a long time with no emails is an important email. They need to see the relevance and the value really quickly or they're going to unsubscribe. The third step is to tell the truth. No one wants your BS reasons for why you didn't email them. Chances are most of them didn't even realize you weren't emailing them. Honestly, we're not as important as we think we are, but they do want to know why you're in their inbox now. So here's what I did. I owned the mistake. I gave a clear explanation of what happened and a brief apology, and then I quickly began to move on to the next steps. Step 4, remind them how they know you. Chances are they subscribe to get some type of freebie or because they heard about you on a podcast or a guest expert or as a speaker in another program or an event. They don't remember who I am now, right? So I shared briefly who I am and I validated my expertise by mentioning how they may know me. I referenced that they may have heard of me from Stu McLaren or Amy Porterfield or Jennifer Allwood or Sam Ovens or any number of other people or speaking events or programs that I've been a part of. Now this next one is super important. It's step number 5, provide value. Now, I run a little peer mastermind for Christian women in business with some brilliant minds in it. And one of those minds, NJ, made sure that I knew I needed to give them value in this very first email, not just an apology. So I turned my mistake into key takeaways and lessons for them, kind of like I'm doing now. I shared with them how they can avoid the same mistake that I made, like by checking your email tags and comparing your list size to your send stats. But I made it a lesson for them and provided a lot of value in that email. Now, step 6 is to set expectations for the future. You want to let your subscribers know what to expect in terms of frequency and the content of your emails going forward, aka resell them on the benefits of staying subscribed. You've heard me talk about this before when it comes to members inside of your programs, but you always are reselling the value of that program, and in this case, the email list. Step 7 is to repeat. Don't just communicate this once, right? I'm taking a couple of weeks to share this message. For me, I have a note at the top of all of my weekly emails now that tells them to scroll to the bottom for more details on why I'm in their inbox if I haven't been for a while. So those are the 7 steps to take to re-engage your email list. First, go ahead and throw that pity party, but make sure you have a deadline. Second, segment your list to personalize it as much as you can. Third, tell them the truth. Be honest about what happened. Fourth, remind them how they know you. Fifth, make sure to provide some really juicy value. 6, set expectations for the future. And then 7, repeat that process. Now, I want to give you one bonus here. That's something I'm constantly reminding myself of as I go through this. Don't panic when a bunch of people unsubscribe. Just remember that usually you would be getting these unsubscribers trickling in week after week, but now you're just getting them all at once because you haven't been emailing them. So thanks to my mistake, you now know what to do to reconnect with your email list if you ever find yourself in a situation where you've ghosted them intentionally or unintentionally. And if you thought I've been ghosting you, now you know why. And you know that I still love you, and you can start checking your email again for emails from me because they're juicy, they're good, and they are great summaries and takeaways from these podcast episodes. If you aren't already subscribed, make sure to do so. Go to shanalynn.com, SHANALYNN.com. Look for the link at the top. You can get my 77 plus ways to create more connection in your community, and that'll subscribe you to my regular email list. All right, I'll see you in the inbox.